Let's have a kind of back to the basics chat, shall we, before we get to what Pete Hegseth is doing, why it's so important. And Trump yesterday, he signed an executive order. And the executive order wasn't majorly important as far as tangibly doing anything, really. It was an executive order to say, hey, the day we won World War I, it's a big deal, and we should celebrate that. That should be a holiday. The day we won World War II, that's kind of a big deal, and it should be a holiday, national holiday. I love that he put in there, we don't need any days off where we have too many holidays, but should be a day we celebrate. So why even bring this up at all? Because it wasn't that major. Well, it was the left's reaction to it. And what we're about to talk about may seem very basic. And if you're where you need to be, it will be very basic. If you're not where you need to be, you won't like it. It'll probably make you uncomfortable. But accepting what the motivation of Democrats today is everything. Know thy enemy, if you will. Knowing what they truly want is everything. And look, in life, period. When you go out for a date, if you're single and you're out there dating, it's important. It's important to understand what do you want? What are your motivations? Just looking for a good time at a Red Lobster on a Friday night? Looking to settle down and get somebody, a wedding ring? A child? What's their motivation? Does it match yours? Understanding motivations are important. Democrats hate the United States of America, and they want to destroy it. I can't put it any more frankly than that. And until you get to that place of understanding, you'll always be lost. You'll always be shocked. You'll wake up every day and you'll look at the news. What are they? I can't believe that. Do you ever find yourself saying that? Do you say that a lot? I can't believe they. Why can't you believe it? What would you do if you hated the country? Do you remember a few years ago when this Mara Gray went on MSNBC and she said this about the flag?
Long Island this weekend, visiting a really dear friend, and I was really disturbed. I saw, dozens and dozens of pickup trucks with, explicatives against Joe Biden on the back of them, Trump flags, and some cases just dozens of American flags, which is also just disturbing because essentially the message was clear. It was, this is my country.
I'm glad we dug that up because I wanted to talk to you about what we're discussing here. How I came to this realization, because I was once one of those very naive people who believe that the people on the left, they're just kind of misguided. We all want the same things, that lame thing. I used to think like that too. Well, we all kind of want the same things. They're just kind of naive, or they don't understand. They don't understand that taking away guns will increase violent crime. They don't understand that opening up the border will actually destroy the country. I made all these excuses. But it was that conversation that Mara Gray just had. I had it with so many. And the conversation usually went something like this. They were starting to sprinkle politics into professional sports, TV commercials, things like that. Companies were starting to take always left-wing political stances. I started pitching a fit about it because this is back when I was super into sports. Can't I just watch the NFL game without all this politics? And every Democrat I knew, every one of them, said, politics have always been in the NFL. What's your problem? And I would, of course, ask, why? How do you figure that? They would say, well, they always have the military there. They always play the national anthem there. Now think about that for a moment. The United States military is partisan. Not partisan to me. Shouldn't be. It's a big organization full of people who are willing to lay down their lives for defense of America. Not political. Well, in the eyes of somebody who hates America, the organization dedicated to protecting America is very, very political. You see? That's how this works. That brings me to what Pete Hegseth did. He just announced 20% cut across the board of 4 stars, generals and admirals. Now, you should understand we have more 4 stars today than we had during World War II. We have this because the United States military is a corrupt criminal organization, a good old boy network, where evil, corrupt scumbags promote each other all the time, reward each other with generous gifts. They bounce back and forth from being 3 stars and 4 stars into working at the defense industry for $1 million a year. It's a really terrible system. Here was Pete talking about it.
We are leaving wokeness and weakness behind. No more pronouns, no more climate change obsession, no more emergency vaccine mandates, no more dudes in dresses. We're done with that. We're focused on lethality, meritocracy, accountability, standards, and readiness.
That's magnificent. But you can't do that without cleaning out the communist rot at the top, and so they're starting to chop away at the top. But that brings me back to a conversation we've had many times, and we'll have it again right now. Why did the system try so hard to stop Pete Hegseth? And why are they still trying so hard to stop Pete Hegseth? In fact, let's not even do the system part. Let's talk about our role in this, your role and my role. I'm talking about our role as people on the right. Because the left, Democrats, elected Democrats, they don't actually have the power to stop really much at all right now. Yet some things are getting stopped. Pete Hegseth almost had his nomination withdrawn. We had to bully Joni Ernst into backing off. But there was one senator from the very red state now of North Carolina, Thom Tillis is his name. And he was working very hard behind the scenes to torpedo Pete Hegseth. Now keep in mind, North Carolina could have the reddest Republican humanly possible. Instead, they have Thom Tillis. And it's funny, Thom Tillis is in the news because Thom Tillis is also the one out there blocking Ed Martin. Yes, that's right. You see, he's already announced he wouldn't support him.
He is, I don't believe he's being advanced to the markup. I met with Mr. Martin. He seems like a good man. Most of my concerns related to January 6th, and he built a compelling case on some of the 15-12 prosecutions that were probably heat of the moment bad decisions, but where we probably have a difference is I think anybody that breached the perimeter should have been in prison for some period of time. Whether it's 30 days or 3 years is debatable, but I have no tolerance for anybody who entered the building on January the 6th, and that's probably where most of the friction was. If Mr. Martin were being put forth as a U.S. attorney for any district except the district where January 6th happened, the protest happened, I'd probably support him, but not in this district. At this point, I've indicated to the White House I wouldn't support his nomination.
Has Trump called you yet on this?
Mr. President, the President and I talk all the time.
Does that make you angry? Do keep in mind that Ed Martin taking over the D.C. district is pretty much the most important thing Trump wants to do. That district is full of communist snakes who've attacked the American people with a vigor over the last 4 years, throwing as many of them as they could in prison. Ed Martin's going to go in there and clean it out. And that's why people like Thom Tillis, red state Republicans, step up and stop it. Whenever we're right on the cusp of a really, really important victory, we'll flirt with important victories, we'll do a little of this, little of that, but when we're on the cusp of something tangible, something lasting, it's red state Republicans that step in and stop it. It's always John Cornyn, it's always James Langford, Thom Tillis, Cassidy, Thune, Rounds, Curtis, you name it. Red state after red state after red state. So my point in this little rant is it comes back to you and me. Changing our voting behavior in primaries and changing the voter behavior of the people we know, because we can't get long-lasting, tangible wins with these losers in there. And speaking of Langford, let's talk really briefly here before we wrap this up about immigration. Because again, the communists hate the country, as we just talked about. They're bringing in as many foreigners as humanly possible. If you look at the television set and you look at people like Ilhan Omar saying like this, and you're mortified, you should understand that we have, in a roundabout way, people like this sitting in Congress because of red state Republicans.
Congresswoman Omar, I'm Miles Morrell with the Daily Caller News Foundation. Do you think more of your Democratic colleagues should be traveling to El Salvador to advocate on behalf of Rodrigo Garcia?
I think you should. Yeah, that's
I'm sorry, what, Congresswoman? Who should?
you.
Why me?
We're not taking any questions right now, but here you go.
Yeah, thanks.
I would say our country should be more fearful of white men across our country, because they are actually causing most of the deaths within this country.
You angry that she's in Congress? She's in Congress because for decades, the United States of America has allowed the mass importation of barbarians from foreign lands, and now communist activists can show up from those foreign lands and get elected to Congress and then use their position in Congress to subvert and destroy the United States of America. And if you're upset about that mass importation, you should understand it doesn't happen without red state Republicans. James Langford, just last year, from the reddest state in the union, Oklahoma, tried to get amnesty passed with the Democrats. That's why you have Ilhan Omar and her like in Congress. All that may have made you uncomfortable, but I am right. I would thank you for coming to my YouTube channel, but I know how brilliant it is, and I know you love it here. So subscribe and watch. We're going to start really ramping things up and putting some funny stuff, some interesting stuff out there, some collaborations. Either way, my YouTube channel is officially the place to be. So stick around.